up guys, it's Brad from Light Architect. Today I have a little bit different video compared to our usual visual effects videos that we release on this channel. As you guys know, we have a variety of add-ons that we have created for Blender, and I wanted to share one of the ways that I use ChatGPT in my Blender add-on programming in order to streamline my coding process. Now, ChatGPT is not perfect for programming. I personally don't think that it's going to replace programmers anytime soon. However, it is helpful to streamline certain processes, so I thought I'd just share a quick example on how I've been using it today. So the way I see ChatGPT is it's just a tool to get things done. If you're into programming, you know that there are lower and higher level programming languages. The lowest level language would just be ones and zeros. A higher level programming language is more abstract away from those ones and zeros. So for example, a coding language like Python, which we program our Blender add-ons in, and most of the time a higher level programming language is more readable. And in a way, you could actually argue that by telling ChatGPT what you want your program to look like in a specific language, you're actually using English or whatever other language you're speaking as an even higher programming language in order to get what you want. So at the end of the day, guys, it's all about logic. And I just wanted to start the video with that statement because obviously ChatGPT isn't replacing all programmers yet. It is just a tool to get things done. But anyways, guys, without further ado, I've been updating our Spyderfy void system add-on for Blender to work with Blender 4.1. As you may know, with new releases of Blender, a lot of the time the Python API for that version of Blender changes. So we'll get some bugs within our add-on and we'll have to rewrite certain aspects of the code in order to get things to work. So Spyderfy is a super simple add-on that we have created. It's so you can add bugs and birds and other kind of flying or crawling creatures to your scene. You can see it here in the right tab. And I've just added a little spider system to the scene here. So I'm just doing a little bit of debugging here, but this is a really cool add-on that we have created. The spiders are just crawling toward our goal object here. So one of the simplest add-ons to work with and really great for adding creatures or flying birds to your live action shots or 3D environments. And pretty much how this add-on works is I've created a very simple operator here. And when we click this, the add-on is going to go through and check which of these creatures are selected, and then it's going to add those to a collection and then create a void system with specific settings and then instance the creatures that the user has selected on a void particle system. As you can see right now, I've just selected the Black Widows option here and I've added a goal to our system. They're just emitted and crawl toward this object. So cool little add-on, but very simple logic here. But I've actually found some bugs when updating it for Blender 4.1. So I'm actually updating each of the different conditionals that go through our different creatures here. So I've actually already fixed the Black Widows and bird-eating spider operators here. So you'll notice if I select Black Widows like I did before, and I'll just name this spiders, I'll add a goal and add this bug system to our scene. So you can see we're just getting a normal system here that's working just fine. But if we select this beetles option here, I'll go ahead and delete this. So if we select the beetles option here, and we say beetle swarm, and I'll add this bug system, you'll notice that there are no beetles emitted from our emitter here. So let's go ahead and fix this in the code, and I'll show you guys how I use ChatGPT in this process. So I'll go ahead and open up the script here, and I'll find the Python file here, open this up, and I'll scroll down here to our operator here. So this class right here is to create this button. And as you can see here, we have a variety of different functions within the class. And right here is our first conditional to check if the Black Widow checkbox is selected. So what it's saying here is if the Widow button from the Spyderfy tool is selected, run all this code, and then all this code is going to import those Black Widow particles into the scene and then attach them to the particle system with a variety of different settings that we have created for it. So as I mentioned, I've actually already gone through this bit of code and fixed the part for the Black Widows as well as the bird-eating spider. And since I know, because I designed the add-on, that the logic to add the Black Widows as well as the bird-eating spiders is the same as the logic that we're going to use to add the beetles, I can actually use ChatGPT to adapt the code that we're using for the Black Widows to the beetles particles. So what I'll do here is I'll find our bird-eating spider conditional here, and I'll copy this all the way to this point right here, and I've actually turned off this code for the beetles because I know it didn't work properly. But I'll go ahead and select this bit of code that I used to add all of the bird eating spiders to our scene, and I know this portion of the code works because I've tested it and I've corrected this in a more manual way already. And now I'll navigate down here for the conditional for our beetles checkbox, which still has some errors. So go ahead and take away our quotes here, and I'll add them just past our beetles selection. So from here down to here is the code that we want to correct based on the code of the bird eating spider. So what we're going to do is go into ChatGPT here, we'll paste the code for the conditional of the bird eating spider, and then I'll press shift here, return, and I'll say the following code works to add and organize the bird eating spider 3D collections for instancing. Okay. And now we'll say adapt the code below for the, so we want to correct the beetles code right here. So I'll say for the beetle conditional to have the same format. I think that should be good. So we want to try to be as specific as possible here. We'll say but for the imported beetle collection. I think this should be good. We can be more or less specific depending on what it spits out for us. And this is why I like to do things in pieces, is because you can debug if it doesn't give you what you want the first time, you can kind of be more specific on how you want ChatGPT to design the code. And we actually need to be more specific here. We'll change this to the above code works. Since we pasted the correct code above. So that could be a little bit confusing there. And now we'll find the code that we want ChatGPT to work on based on the code we have pasted above. I'll press shift and return a few times. I'll go into our script and I will find our beetles conditional here. So where our beetles are being imported into the scene based on the conditional checkbox. I'll select all of this and I'll paste this below. And we'll just double check our wording here. The above code works to add and organize the bird eating spider 3D collection for instancing. Adapt the code below for the beetle conditional to have the same format, but for the imported beetle collection. So that looks good. Now we'll go ahead and press enter here. And now as you can see here, it's going to spit out that code and we can copy and paste it into our script, and let's see how it works out. So we're providing ChatGPT an example of what we have already corrected and saying to apply it to a new creature. So we're gonna try and copy this code and paste it into our script here. And of course you do want to kind of spot check things to make sure you can understand the code as well. But let's go ahead and just try this out here. I'll copy our code right here. So we have our conditional, copy this, and ChatGPT even gives us a little breakdown of what's happening here. And you can actually ask questions and have it adapt it further. But let's go ahead and give it a shot here. So this is our beetles conditional. So go ahead and find it here. And we'll paste our new code into everything. Now you'll notice that it didn't keep the same indentations, so we'll have to re-indent our code. So I'll just do that really quickly. All right, so now we have the correct indentation here, and we can run the script really quick just to make sure there are no errors right off the bat. And now we have utilized the same logic to define certain names of collections and append the beetles from the blend file within the add-on. And we can just kind of spot check it here. So pretty much how this works is it's gonna ask if the checkbox was selected with this conditional right here, and then right here, we're appending the beetles collection from the source blend file. Then we hide the group from the Blender scene so we don't see them, because we only want these beetles to show up in the particle system, not as their instances in 3D, for example. Then here we're going to rename the beetles collection. I've coded it here so that it uses a unique name. So we have a little while loop here to make sure that each time this code is run, it'll check to see if there's a similar name already in the Blender scene. And if there is, it's going to create a new name. And then we're storing that name within the code so that we can refer to it later in some of the other functions we have within the add-on. So we have that going on here. Then I'm renaming some more of the particles. And the reason I have so many collections here is because when you're instancing particles, you want to just instance the 3D geometry. You don't want to instance the armatures and all of that stuff. But yeah, it's not super important, but yeah, that's why I'm doing it. Then I have some deselection here. You can see here with these commands. And then I'm selecting all of these objects in the beetle particle collection. And then I'm going to add them to our main collection once we create it. So All of this looks good here. I don't want to get too specific into the actual code. This is just more of a conceptual breakdown of how I'm using ChatGPT to kind of streamline my process. Once I figure out a solution and I have other areas that I want to apply it, this is the way I would do it. So I'll go ahead and save our script here. Obviously make sure you have backups and everything, so if we have a glitch we can refer back to the old one. But I'll go ahead and save it here. I'll close my Blender file and I will delete the old install file, and I have saved my script within this add-on folder. I'll go ahead and compress this so that we can install our new script and the add-on into Blender. So as you can see, I'm compressing it here, and while that's happening I'll go ahead and open up Blender real quick. Now I'll go into Blender, I'll select everything, delete it, go into our preferences, and I will disable the older version of the add-on. And let's click on install, navigate to the new version here. Go ahead and install this one, and we'll select the checkbox to install it. And now let's give it a shot here, let's see if it works. We can select the Beetles checkbox and we'll try to run the script with this selected, and let's see what we get. We'll call it Beetle Swarm, add goal, and we'll select to add the bug system. And just like that, it has added both our bug emitter as well as our bug system goal. Let's go ahead and test it out here, make sure it works. So you can see the bugs are following the goal nicely here. And yeah, now we have debugged that portion of the script. So again, what I'm doing here is I'm revising one portion of the code that I need to revise. And then since I know that another portion of the code is similar in logic to the code that I've already revised, I'm giving ChatGPT both the revised code and the code I want it to revise based on the same logic, and then I'm telling it to do that with the following statement right here. So that's just one way you can use ChatGPT in your programming process, guys. I hope this video was helpful. As always, feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions or suggestions in the comment section below. Let us know what you'd like to learn next on the channel. If you like these programming tutorials, let me know, and I'll see you next time.